Hey, everybody. So I think we're live. I guess we'll find out in a second if people on the live chat are still like, where the hell are they? But so welcome once again to another episode of Trek Actually. Hello, Dana. How are you this evening?
Doing just fine now that we're actually started.
Yeah. So I had a backup plan in case what just happened
Mm-hmm.
happened, and
Mm-hmm.
I did what I said I wasn't going. I said earlier. I said
Uh-huh.
if there's any kind of a hiccup, I'm just going to go right to the backup plan. And I was stubborn and I didn't do it. So that's my fault that we're a few minutes behind. But here we are because XSplit, for whatever reason, occasionally decides to just forget all about my scheduled live streams. So we are going to be watching episode 4 of season 1 of Deep Space Nine tonight. So if you haven't done so already, wherever you watch the episode, whether it's on Netflix or some other streaming service, or you have it on DVD or whatever, please queue up episode 4 of season 1 of DS9, which is titled Babel. And we will be watching that momentarily. I will, as I usually do, and for those of you who are new and haven't watched along with us before, I'll do a count in. I'll do 3, 2, 1, play, and then we all push play, and we're synced up, and we can watch it together. So that's how this is gonna work. So hello to everybody in the live chat. I hope everybody had a good holiday. I hope everybody is 255 AD says, I refuse to watch TV legally. That's an interesting stand to take. Okay.
Thank the man. 255 AD also said that this episode was very topical. So I will be interested to see how
Me too.
you're making faces.
It's been a while since I've watched it, so I don't know how. I can't remember if it's particularly topical or not, but we shall see.
I suppose so.
So if
Speaking of
yeah,
which, shall we see?
let us see, shall we? Okay, everybody. So yes,
Wait.
yes, yes.
Did you seriously? Okay, it did something. I
What
think I'm still good.
are you?
Like
What
it
happened?
went whoosh. But it still says that I'm on season 1, episode 4 Babel.
Okay,
So
yeah, and we're starting at the very beginning at 0000. So
it's a very good place to start.
at the beginning is a very good place to start.
Uh-huh.
And see, I still can't remember the rest how it goes from there. So I
When you
remember
read, you begin with
once upon a time. I don't know.
no, like when you really begin, you begin with ABC.
Oh,
When you sing, you begin
with
with
do re mi, of course.
A.
How could I forget? Because they do that song like 3 times in the movie for some reason.
The first 3 notes just happen to be
Do re mi.
yes. Look at you, Ghosty. I'm so
Wow.
proud of
All you
you.
have to do is lead me by the hand through the lyrics.
Exactly. Just
That
like she does in the show.
so I'm just like one of those children.
Yeah.
Great.
Adorable and not a Nazi.
Hi, I'll take both of those. I'm all aboard for both of those. So okay, everybody get ready. We are going to be starting momentarily. Have your version, whatever you're watching it on, of Deep Space Nine season 1 episode 4 Babel, queued up to all zeros at the beginning, and we will push play when I count us in, which is going to be right now. Everybody get ready. 3, 2, 1, play.
Oh, wow. We're in space.
Deep space. You'll be running out of air soon.
Oh, he's hopeful. Isn't that nice?
Yeah. Try some technobabble stuff. They've marked out a P corner. Sounds like a you problem.
Okay, Karen. What are you going to do? Ask to speak to my manager?
Ooh. Oh. That's what I was going to say.
Well, it did it. Yeah, Joe, you know what you call that? Failure. Joe says, his best is hardly good enough. Well, that's what failure is, when your best just isn't good enough.
Why does a space station need a navigational computer, by the way?
So it knows where it's not going,
Oh, of course.
obviously.
Should have seen it myself. That's somewhat insubordinate. I'm loving the answers in the chat to why it needs a nav computer. By knowing, Darren Hill says, by knowing where it's not going, it can determine where it is.
Exactly. Process of elimination. And
It's fixed.
not working. Wait.
Let me wave this thing at it.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
That's why it's not working. He's mispronouncing it.
Or he's not doing the swish and flick correctly.
It's all in the wrist. Well, don't put your finger in it.
He's like,
Hey,
it's all right.
computer, did you replace my coffee with Folgers crystals?
I remember the Ghostbusters cartoon show.
Ah,
This coffee tastes like mud. Oh, I'm sorry. It is mud.
now let's all take just 30 seconds to a minute for some quiet meditation while we watch the Deep Space Nine opening titles. Yes.
Wait, we're supposed to have our eyes open while we meditate? You don't do it that way.
Okay, fine. Listen to it then. Just relax. Let all the tension go.
Have you ever thought about doing a meditation channel?
No.
Actually, some random geek. I've seen both, but that particular line was from the real Ghostbusters.
The real Ghostbusters.
Yes. Which really misses out by not having a talking ape, I must say. Seriously. Although I will say Jake was the one I had the crush on.
From Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Not
the
real Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Yes. Filmation Ghostbusters, yes.
You were so dreamy.
255 AD asks, why do future electronics have so much glowing stuff inside them? So we can see
it looks cool.
So we can see when they cut to a shot from the inside. Caitlin,
Caitlin also says, I wondered why that was called real. Didn't know there were two. Yeah.
yeah, that was a whole thing. The non-real Ghostbusters actually came first, and even
The other
though,
one had to say,
yeah,
were the real good, because they couldn't
right,
say they were the original Ghostbusters
because they weren't,
because they weren't.
right, exactly.
Without me around, you'd be out of a job.
I'm
Don't
sure.
ask me to do that to you, gentlemen. Not on Christmas Eve.
Oh, it can't be that bad.
I love how polite he is. And he's like, look, let me spoon some up for you.
Exactly. Num 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 num.
Some random geek, I'm going to disagree with you when you say that only capitalism needs cops. No, that's not entirely true.
Yeah.
There's other economic systems in which the state exerts its power using cops.
There would
It
still
doesn't
be
have to be capitalism.
Yeah, there would still be laws that need to be enforced. There would still be disputes that need to be resolved, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, not so much that there you can resolve disputes without cops,
Well,
but
you can.
there are oppressive systems of government that don't use capitalism.
That's true.
Yes, some random geek. There you go.
Well, I agree with the first.
state needs cops.
I agree with the first half of that sentiment. Oh, there aren't any.
You're not important enough.
I love this though. Quark has a drawer of illegal security access rods, and he keeps it in an unlocked drawer right behind the bar.
Illegal. They're just it's lost and found.
Exactly. If an officer happens to drop one and I happen to pick it up.
They're ultra trucking. Yes, Keiko's a good teacher. The show tells us that.
Exactly.
In expository dialogue.
Hello, Lieutenant.
The two statements are not mutually exclusive.
I guess Curzon must not have been all that sexy. No, that was last week.
Oh wait, he does. Amen, Caitlin. A woman did not write this scene.
No, in fact, other than a couple episodes, other than an episode written by DC Fontana, I'm not sure how many women writers there were for the entire run of Deep Space Nine. I know the regular writers' room, I think, was all men, as was unfortunately typical during this, this period of when it was produced.
And most of
Most of most of television history.
fine. It's such a nice, vague, ambiguous, useless word.
I'll kill you.
Let me talk louder at you.
Oh, he's talking jive. Nope, nothing.
255 AD. That's a fair point, but at the same time, I feel like he's a bit more discerning than that.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, pause. And for folks who want a time code, I am paused at 33:10 remaining on Netflix. Some Random Geek has 33:11. That's also fine. It's as long as we're in the ballpark. So yeah. Oh, I guess the the pressure has gotten to O'Brien, eh?
Just a bit.
He's finally cracked.
Yep.
255 AD asked earlier in the chat, how comes O'Brien doesn't have underlings to delegate these duties to? And I think that's because this is only the 4th episode, and we do see him later on in the first season have people who report to him who are sort of under his supervision, but.
Well, he was talking to some people at the beginning, saying, "Try doing this, try doing that."
Yeah, the impression is like, and it's sort of like it's the same kind of deal as when people say like, why do the senior officers always go on the away teams? Like, if O'Brien really is the chief of operations of the entire station, you would think he wouldn't be fixing shit all by himself, but he's the main cast member, so.
But also, I mean, if a lot of stuff has started going bad, like a lot of things have been breaking, the fact that he is also in there fixing stuff as well
Right.
may indicate that that just the problem is that bad.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Caitlin says all hands on deck. Exactly. Yeah.
Absinthe Chris says it's off frequently easier to do oneself, which is true.
Yeah.
But you set yourself up for some major problems that way.
Yeah, and there is O'Brien, especially once we get when O'Brien comes to Deep Space Nine and he sort of assumes what is by another name the chief engineer role. There's the Star Trek tradition where the chief engineer, Scotty and Geordi both obviously have staffs in their department that help them out with things, but we often see them doing things themselves. It's not, neither one of them are exactly delegators. Scotty wasn't saying like, you go climb up in that tunnel and fix the thing. Like, he just went up and did it, because he was the lead character, or the lead character of that department. So,
So 255 AD says that he is interested or desperate to hear my thoughts on the line about women getting more attention.
Please.
Let's not forget that they are two young and typically attractive women. Hey, Demas Elvis.
Thank you for the super chat, Demas Elvis.
Anyway. It's also let's not forget. She says she hasn't been a woman for 80 years, so it's also something that is new to her.
Yeah,
and it's not something that she's been putting up with her entire life. And it's also just not true. I don't know. I think it happens differently in different environments. Different cultures have different ways of and different levels of tolerance for just sort of random, hey, how's it going? You know, as a someone who grew up as a small town Yankee, No. I mean, like, maybe like people were saying things to me when I was in college, but like I had stuff to do. I had places to go. I was not paying attention. Like,
Right.
none of that. And I am not um, small or delicate uh, at all. So, I walk like I like kind of like the Winter Soldier, only faster when I've got somewhere to go. I mean, people get out of my way. I mean, it's a faster version. If you look it up, it's the murder walk. You
Yes.
tuck in your chin, lean forward a little bit, and then you move, and people the seas part, especially when you're large. It's so nice. It's really nice not being small, you guys. Or it's really convenient. Um,
Philip brings up a really good point, and this that Dax hasn't been a woman for 80 years, but Jadzia has been a woman her whole life.
and her experience should
Right.
filter in as well.
Exactly.
But that's the feeling that I get, is that most of what we get from the character comes from Dax. Like, we don't get a lot from Jadzia. And then of course Kira's little there at the end of it is, I mean, she doesn't say that, but that's the expression of, oh honey.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah, so 255 AD says, I don't think they decided the host still has all their memories. So yeah, they're still kind of getting things figured out with the
they were
trilogy.
still they're still figuring that out. And also I think that's the main reason why we even had that line in the first place, is that it's early in the show and they wanted to again remind us that was the deal.
They're
with
like,
Dax.
this is somebody else.
Yeah.
Please let us know at the next act break. Let us know what.
I guess that I don't I don't know
paused?
that we've paused, but I do. We're paused right now, and at the next act break.
Yeah, he'll say 3, 2, 1 pause.
I always say 3, 2, 1 pause, and we take a break for a little chit chat like we're doing right now.
Norman asks if they figured out that the Trill are more integrated with Jadzia Soul and Dax's group yet, or they're still thinking of TNG Trill, where the symbiont takes over the person. I think not just that. They may have that idea, but like Steve said, like we were saying, that this is partly to remind the audience that she's Trill.
Yeah, exactly.
As well, since this is just a pretty early episode.
When Jadzia does get like a Jadzia centered episode a little bit later here in the first season, they finally kind of choose a side with that and make it explicit that she is that her current makeup is a fusion of Jadzia as she was before she was joined, and the Dax symbiont. And Caitlin just mentioned it's and that is the episode that DC Fontana writes, which is one of the few episodes written by a woman that I can think of off the top of my head in Deep Space Nine. So, but yeah, that definitely goes a long way toward resolving what the deal is as far as Jadzia and Dax and which is which and how that all works.
Imagine that having a female writer on staff is helpful.
Weird, huh?
Gee. 255 AD asks me if Keiko is a good teacher just because her teenage students like her, and the answer is no. Having your students like you is really helpful for being an effective teacher, and I would say that it is important if none of your students like you, and you know this, you need to look at why that's the case, and also look at the environment around you. If I have had times when I have been met with very strong resistance because I am assigning an amount and level of work that I feel is appropriate for the grade level. And I have to sort of dial it back some, look at what some of the other teachers who teach this course, as well as a level above and a level below me have, so I know sort of where they're going to be going and what has prepared them for this. So the big one, of course, this past semester was, I know that half of my students have really, minimal experience with research and formatting and evaluating sources and things like that, and reading like actual scholarly articles. So I made that a priority, especially as we were moving into the second half of the semester and all of a sudden going into hybrid model. But at the same time, I had to be very gentle with them because half of the students hadn't had anything since middle school, and half of the students had the full units on research, but it wasn't since like the fall semester of 2019. So it's been like a whole year since they had it. So I had to be really gentle with it. Plus we lost time. So there have been times when I've tried to go with what I thought was appropriate, but it was, too much work and or too challenging for students. And in their resistance to it, they took that out on me, and they didn't like what we were doing. So they didn't like me making them do it or telling them that they were supposed to do that, which is understandable. If it should be challenging for them, you want to move between things that are a little bit out of their reach, and and then upon occasion introducing them to things that they're just like they're not going to get, but letting them know there's still more. Just because you can the alphabet and you can pronounce words, that doesn't mean you're a good reader. No, there's so much more past that. And then also bringing them back to one of the things that I think Common Core has gotten away from is the reinforcement of skills that students are already expected to be familiar with. We don't do enough revisiting of that. And that hurts them later on because they sort of start to lose some of that foundation that they need. So sorry, I'm going to look at the chat here real quick. I will talk about teaching a lot.
Yeah.
Harry Garrison wants to know what the timestamp is.
It is. Yeah, I think a couple people have. I'm at 33:11 remaining. Some Random Geek is at 33:10 remaining. Either one is fine.
So the other thing is, Fantomas. I'm very curious about that. 255 it depends. I mean, they're just a few students, and different students are going to react in different ways to that. She says maybe they like her because she's not challenging them at all, but students who aren't being challenged at all are going to get bored, and they're going to start acting out, and then she's going to be complaining about them. But the issue is really that she's not giving them work that's at an appropriate level for their abilities and interests. So that's, you just use your imagination. Daryl Trashecki, he says, I always ask myself how actors could say lines like, "Ooh, dinner debug," and not burst out into laughter. I wonder if, oh gosh, when we actually get done, remind me. I haven't looked because today's Wednesday and I haven't seen anything about callbacks. Guys, I just auditioned for another play. And it's going to be, the plan at this point is to live stream it. So, Random Geek, I feel very strongly about that. And so, I mean, that's why I've done some of the things. That's why I started making my channel, is because these are mistakes that I see in student writing, and they're not in the curriculum for what I'm teaching, but they still need that practice. They need that reinforcement. It's just that they're just words. You make sounds, and they're also reacting to the fact that nobody seems to understand them.
Right.
I think it's, just using your imagination. What's interesting to me is the fact that they are saying real words. Like, it's not nonsense syllables.
Right.
There was an episode of Monk where he, I don't know if he's hit on his head or has a TIA or what, but he has aphasia.
Aphasia, yeah.
He gets aphasia, and he does it really, really well. Like, it's really good. Like, it's nonsense syllables, but I mean, it sounds like he's speaking a different language. It's that good. And Absent Chris is like, most of the technobabble doesn't make sense either.
Exactly.
I think same sort of thing. That I think they did the same thing in Monk, but it was not actual just switched words, it was like nonsense syllables. And
Right.
the interesting thing, spoiler alert, the show is like what, 15 years old now? I don't know. Anyway, it's been a long time.
Don't
Um,
spoil Monk.
at the end of the episode, I think Natalie tells him that like his check is bounced, like he's paid her and the check is bounced, and he goes, "Warble Fark, I been gave it," and it's like it's obviously made up nonsense,
that he's,
and you can tell the difference, which is just absolutely fascinating. I mean,
Yeah.
I think just the way that our minds work is something that we know more about than we used to, but it's just, if I was going to be immortal, I would go into neurobiology, specifically neurolinguistics, for a generation or two, because it's just so interesting. Like if I was going to live forever, I would definitely study that.
Okay, shall we?
Okay, Charles Chapman says that Monk is stressed by the earthquake, and
That
yes,
caused the
that's
aphasia.
right. Like, and Natalie comes in and sees him just sort of walking around the apartment is like a wreck. And she's like, "You're handling this really well." And he just doesn't say anything. He just stays, he's very calm. And then he finally says something. And she's like, "Oh, okay." And like they get him,
It's like
she's
that.
like, she's on the phone trying to explain it to his psychiatrist. And his psychiatrist is like, "Monk, you're not making any sense. I can't give the phone to Natalie." She gives it to Natalie. And she's like, "I can't understand it either." And she's like, wait, write it down. And he writes it down. It's like, Sharulazin Fark. Sharulazin Fark. And he underlines Fark twice. And she's like, Sharulazin Fark? And he nods. Like she gets it.
Right.
It's so great. But yeah, it's full on.
Yeah.
It's yes.
Okay,
It's so great.
let's get back into the episode.
Yes. All
Shall
right.
we?
So I'm really interested to see what the cause is of this. If it is, I mean, it could be stress related. That would make a whole lot of sense.
For O'Brien, it would make perfect sense. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But I think given where we are, that there's going to be further developments, because that's the way stories work. They have a certain
Indeed.
length and you do certain things throughout the story.
All right, so we are at time code. If you're watching on Netflix like we are at 33:11 remaining, and I will count us in from 3, 3, 2, 1, play. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. Even in the future, doctors still shine lights in your eyes. It's comforting, really.
Actually, it's kind of uncomfortable. I mean, I think.
Well, the magic earmuffs say your brain's fine.
Within normal levels. Ah.
Well, here he goes. He's writing. Fix him.
No,
So
he's obviously able to understand others.
Yeah. Hey, don't you take that tone with me, young man.
At Tanagra. Just make something up, dude.
Just grab something out of thin air.
Caitlin L says that's symmetric aphasia, but I mean, they're saying that he doesn't understand others, but his responses indicate that he does.
He seems like he does, yeah. Uh-oh.
What's interesting is she's realizing that she's doing it
Yeah.
before they react. That's virtually impossible.
Virtually impossible. It's a fuzzy dumbbell. What the hell is going on around here?
Oh, so 25580 says, remember I said this was topical?
Because of
because of the quarantine.
Yeah, because of it's a disease. Yeah. Hey, there's Morn. People were asking about Morn earlier. There he is.
Well, maybe if they'd had masks and they'd worn their masks.
Exactly. And there's no excuse. They can just get a mask out of one of the magic holes in the wall that makes things.
Like, interacting with others is like the opposite of harmless
I know.
during a quarantine. Like, that's the purpose of the quarantine.
You're a dead man, Quark.
Some random geek. I bet that's what Odo calls him whenever he can get the chance, just behind his
Quack.
back. Yeah, that quack running the bar.
No. Oh, and make dinner.
I don't understand. What's the deal with the cargo? So what if it's ruined?
Well, he obviously needs to deliver his cargo to earn a living.
Are we did are we not in a post-scarcity society
Well,
anymore? I'm confused.
the Federation doesn't use money, but other societies still do. So he obviously
Is a
still
non-federation
is,
dude.
still is in a situation where he still needs to quote unquote earn a living. Yeah. See, Quark is so good he can do this from memory. I'll take that kiwi strawberry Snapple, Quark.
Yeah.
Darren Hill, that yes, it is exactly a 4-3 thing. Yes, it's because that's on TV. They have to be super close to be both in the shot. That's exactly what it is. and have them wear masks. Thanks, Quark. Loretta says it only affects people with brains, so Rom is safe. Yes, at this early point in the series, because as Puka and 255 AD both pointed out, this is before they decided Rom was a genius. Okay, get ready to pause. Three, two, one, pause. So I'm paused at 24:40 remaining for those of you who need a time code. So yeah, I get the feeling that
Now it's a contagion.
I get the feeling the monk episode you were describing is built on the same bones as this episode, because like literally right after we come back from the act break, it's we get the scene where O'Brien writes something down and we see that that's gibberish too. I feel like that's sort of a standard trope for the aphasia episode.
Yeah. And in the monk episode, they also show him what he wrote. He's like, I didn't write that. That's not what I wrote. You guys are pranking me. Just, it's ridiculous. So
Because like after he's better, then it looks like gibberish to him too.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, they
Yeah.
show him what he wrote, and he recognizes that it's not actually words.
Right.
They're like, you wrote this. This is your handwriting. It's like you got somebody to fake my handwriting. So
And yes, Empire Jeff, yes, the virus is airborne. That's
Ooh, dun, dun, dun.
the cause of the emergency, because now they have a potential outbreak. Yeah.
So masks.
Yeah. Or someone earlier said, why can't they just use the why can't they just use the transporter to remove it from everybody? That's never even mentioned as a possibility, as far as I can recall. So yeah, I that's one of those that's one of those things that the writers would like you to forget about, because if they did it once and they can do it again, that solves so many
The
problems.
show would only be 20 minutes long.
Yeah,
And
it's like,
needs to
just-
be 40 minutes long.
Just run them through the transporter; it'll be fine.
How awful Quark's actions look, just sort of in general.
Yeah, I didn't listen to that episode, but I guess that's what's meant by that. Okay, well, Quark is very chauvinistic. And of course, Ferengi society in general, when we eventually get sort of a little bit of a broader look at the Ferengi culture, is very like overtly misogynistic, and that's intentional, because the Ferengi
Yeah, I think
are
we're supposed to think that they're bad.
yeah, the Ferengi are meant to be a satire of a bunch of different things, including like unchecked capitalism, but also like cultural conservatism and sexism and all kinds of stuff. So we're meant to think that the Ferengi culture is backwards, and Quark is actually, as we see, Quark turns out to be a little bit more progressive than most other Ferengi, although that doesn't excuse his chauvinistic behavior.
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
Hi, beautifulest one.
ooh, I hope we get to see it
An
sometime.
art project.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously staying, but not just that, but the fact that he is, he doesn't need to. It's just for his status and for like among his people. Like he's not, I mean, they're not going to be like, okay, you get to starve. Nobody's going to give you anything. You're going to sit here, we'll watch you, we'll walk past you and let you, starve and get sick and die of whatever you get sick from. and you just be here, and we're going to tell you to just keep moving along. You don't get to sleep either, because you got to keep moving. You can't stay here, you can't stay there. Like, there's no reason that he has to stay open other than his status with his people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not yeah. His status and his. I mean, he does like on Ferenginar in the Ferengi culture. I mean, he does transact business and owe people money and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, if
But
he
he doesn't have to do that.
no, I suppose he could just move to the Federation full time and not have to worry about
Hey.
money. But
Yeah, some random geek says Quark does at least care about his family later in the show, but
yeah,
I would argue that people, bigots of all stripes, care about those who they include. It's just like they exclude everybody else, and they can just die, suffer, and or die, in whichever order.
right.
I mean, because you see, like, there are lots of people who all of a sudden support LGBTQ rights because, oh my gosh, I thought about it, it happened to, my son, my nephew, and I just realized that, they should have the same rights as everybody else. Well, duh. I mean,
Yeah.
it shouldn't have to happen to you or someone close to you
Right.
for you to decide that, other people's lives matter.
Yeah. Eli T in the chat asks if Federation people want to drink at Quark's bar, how do they pay for it? I don't know. I don't think that's ever resolved. That is one of the great mysteries not one of the great mysteries, but one of the interesting sort of nerdy mysteries about the show. And also,
Caitlin says it's textual that he pays no rent for his bar to the Federation.
Yeah,
so Federation members may get free drinks as sort of part of that.
Maybe. But yeah, that answers 255 AD's question of does he pay rent? It's stated in a later episode. Sisko tells, in a conversation with Quark, Sisko says that the Federation doesn't charge him rent. So, yeah.
Federedits?
Federation credits. Federedits.
Sisko holds it over his head, holds it over his throat.
Yeah. And it is interesting, though, because at various points in Deep Space Nine, as the show goes on, we do see Federation officers gambling and doing other things that allow them to earn money, like gold press latinum, which is sort of the common currency on the station. And it's interesting that I suppose they just save it for times when they would need money for something, when they're interacting with a member of a culture that still uses it. Because, of course, in the Federation, we're told explicitly many times throughout various versions of Star Trek that the Federation does not have money and that you don't need money to get things in the Federation.
That's what it was. I was like, where did I see this? Like in Last Holiday, when Queen Latifah goes to Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and she's dealing, I think she's working with Kroner, and she gets taken up to her suite, and she goes, I really haven't figured all this money out. Here you go. And she says,
Yeah.
Did I give you an okay tip? He's like, No, madame. And he gives her some money back. He says, No, that is more appropriate. Thank you very much. So.
Yeah. So he does what Quark would not have done.
Oh, God, no.
Quark would have been like, yes, this is the ideal tip. Thank you. It's just perfect.
Well, it's like, well, I understand you don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. Implying that she should have given him more, but not saying that directly. So.
Yeah, they did in the whale one. Yeah. In Star Trek 4.
We all know. Like, I haven't seen it and I still know.
There is some, that the Star Trek characters arrive in the 20th century and they realize very quickly that it's a problem because they don't have any money. And how are they going to, make their way through San Francisco in 1986 if they don't have any money? Yes. And of course, Kirk pawns his antique eyeglasses, and that's how they get money.
Just bluff your way through. Shoulders back, head held high. What do you mean we need to pay for this? What is this ridiculous nonsense?
Yeah.
Bye, dear Ultra Trekkie.
Oh, Bider Ultra Trekkie. And yeah, 255 AD brings, and I mentioned this, I think I mentioned this in my video on the subject. In the book Trekonomics, the author speculates that the Federation keeps a certain amount of foreign currency and that they sort of dole it out to people who need it when they interact with other cultures.
It's like if you I remember when back hey, when I was a student, we went on like long field trips. Like if you went to a competition, like a state or national level, they would say, you get this much money for food, and you just got the money, because you were going on this thing. It was great. I miss those days.
Shall we continue?
I would love to.
All right, everybody, get ready. We're gonna get back into the episode. We are paused at 24 minutes 40 seconds remaining, and we're going to resume. I will count us in. In 3, 2, 1, play.
Joe McClory says that we invented transparent aluminum, but just wait. The big one, of course, is transparent steel.
Scotty didn't have the formula for that shit.
Uh-oh. That one's bad because it's red.
Why are there red lights in this thing? God damn it.
The red and the blue is fine. What you don't want are like purple or like lime green. Lime green always means evil.
Yes, no fluorescence.
Pink and blue, it's like a gender reveal party.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, that's true. Well, that was rude. It's not like I have shit to do. Jared in the chat says, you don't want a square with some kind of interface stuck to your wall. Those are always bad news. Oh, Commander Cisco, no, you misunderstood. Jake doesn't have the virus. Keiko is just a lousy teacher. Gulp.
Dun, dun, dun.
Pukarua, exactly. There's an airborne virus, and he's in a room full of people that have it. What is he doing?
Well, it's airborne. Right now, he's relying on his immune system.
That's
like
I guess, yeah.
I mean, because what they said is they took an air sample like around here, and it was already in like the command station.
That's true. So I guess one place is as good as another. Make some friends, Jake. Too perfect.
Too perfect. Doesn't really work that way.
They can't help themselves.
Dun dun dun.
Damn Bajorans. 255 AD, that's an excellent question. Why do they need to be in bed? They seem fine other than being not able to talk. That's a great question. Because that reads as sick to us. So we know that they're sick when we watch the show.
So they have to lie down.
Exactly.
And have chicken soup and
Yeah.
saltines and ginger ale.
Yeah, sick. Exactly.
Steve,
You got
are you
it.
okay?
Huh?
Are you okay?
I'm fine. Why? Why?
Because you're drinking ginger ale.
Oh, I'm terribly sick. I'm terribly sick.
Oh, no. Some random geek says, you eat something to get it. Well, I guess we're all going to be losing those quarantine pounds.
Jared Freeman says, Julian probably had them lie down because he wanted to look like he knew what he was doing.
Some random geek, it actually goes well together. Especially if you add like a little bit of mint.
Ginger ale is a good mixer. It's good with gin. It's good with whiskey. Mm-hmm. Crown Royal and ginger ale is a... And I'm not even much of a drinker, but...
It's okay with vodka. I use less vodka, though.
Oh, Jake, shut up.
You know we can't understand you.
Uh-huh. Sure.
Stop trying to talk.
Oh, it's O'Brien, so he's dead. Why do you even bother? It's like shooting Superman at this point. The bullets keep bouncing off their chests and they just keep right on shooting. Okay, 3, 2, 1, pause. We're at 1853 remaining.
Ooh. Yeah, Caitlin L says gin with lavender. And yeah, gin is a great herbal. It's just, that's, it's general notes. So yeah, anything herbal that you mix it with. I have some Saint Germain. It goes well with that and gin, Saint Germain, and Sprite, really nice together.
Oh yeah, I used to drink it with I would mix it with club soda and lemon juice.
Classic.
And that was good. Yeah. Yeah, people are losing their minds about the lack of masks. Yes, that if it is an airborne virus, you would think at the very least they could distribute masks to the people on the station. But no, that is never even mentioned. Maybe they figured that was too old-fashioned in the 24th century. And also, people are talking about the replicators, whether or not you can replicate living things. That is really inconsistently established in Star Trek. I think the general rule is they can't replicate like complex life forms, although what they mean by complex life form is open to interpretation.
It's complex.
But it's basically, we have to remember, it's all made up. So the replicators can make whatever. I know. I'm sorry, Dane. I didn't mean to disillusion you.
Well, now I don't want to watch the rest. Just fake.
The replicators can make whatever the story needs the replicators to be able to make. Is the basic rule. Thanks for the super chat, John. It says, Steven, your last not actually Trek. Actually, you talk about Kirk versus the computer. Another example of this is from the Return of the Archons. Yeah, I mentioned that in my video. About Kirk killing computers as one of Star Trek's favorite tropes. Return of the Archons is the first time that happens, I believe.
Loretta Reyes says, then we'd have half the people wearing them wrong anyhow.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, these are like Starfleet officers. I mean, Starfleet officers are the cream of the crop.
Exactly.
They got through the academy. They are people who know what they're doing, and
Yeah, as we've seen in the Ensign's log.
Exactly.
They are absolutely top of the line. Viticus in the chat says Seth Brundle would soup up their replicators. Now that would be I think Seth Brundle would be better for souping up the transporters, given what happens to him. But that's funny.
So yeah, it depends. 255 AD says viruses technically aren't alive. They need to use other organisms' cells to reproduce. So, but that's, I mean, it depends on, viruses are in sort of this weird little in-between stage.
Yeah. And really, if, because other people have mentioned, if because replicators can reproduce organic material, they can reproduce, they can make food, they can make like a steak, they can make molecularly complex things. But so if we accept that replicators can do that, then they should be able to replicate a virus, which is a lot more simple in terms of its construction than some of the other stuff we see. But it is whatever it needs to be for the sake of the story.
Yes. Speed of plot.
255 AD. I don't know if they necessarily. I mean, the writers did what they needed to do to tell the story. I don't know if they thought of it or if they thought of it and forgot. I don't think it's really that important. I feel like that's probably, like, if I were writing an episode, it's probably not something that would even cross my mind. And it's hopefully, I mean, we're talking about it now, but hopefully when an audience watches the episode for the first time, that's not something that bothers them.
Rich logic.
Yeah, exactly. It's, you watch the show and it doesn't, and it's later on where you're like, wait a minute, why couldn't I just replicate
and honestly,
it? Blah, 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 blah.
As a writer, if you don't do it too much, doing that once in a while is good, because it makes people think back about the episode and it gets people talking about, well, why did they do this thing? And they talk to other fans, and it gives it some sticking power.
Exactly. And Puka Rua says in the episode of Voyager where Neelix loses his lungs, why not transport new lungs directly into Neelix? It's been a while since I watched that episode. I can't remember, but there may have been some technobabble to explain why they couldn't do that, but I can't remember particularly. And again, the answer is always because it's a more dramatic episode if they can't.
Yes.
I mean, that's the answer to most of these inconsistencies, is because they wanted it to be a dramatic episode, so they wrote it that way. And as I said in my video that I put up today, my comment response video, like, when you're writing, especially when you're writing a continuing series like this, the ultimate master that you have to serve as the writer is drama. Yeah. And if that means sacrificing realism or living with a little bit of inconsistency, that's fine. The important thing is to tell a compelling, dramatic story.
Yeah, but at the same time, inconsistency can pull away from drama. Like, it can take you out of the story.
If it's too glaring, yeah. And as a couple of people in the chat are pointing out, I mean, it depends on what kind of a viewer you are, and there are some audience members who will see even the tiniest inconsistency, and it'll just take them out of it, no matter what. Yeah. So it just depends on your perspective and your priorities as a viewer, and Yeah, Harry Garrison says on Voyager you need a specialized replicator to do organs. Yeah, I'm sure there's probably like, a medical replicator or something.
It's like Hulu and Hulu Premium.
Exactly. You need to pay the extra $5 a month in order to be able to replicate organs. John Burns says the Heisenberg compensator is the biggest case of technobabble in sci-fi. Yeah, and it's also...
How does the Heisenberg compensator work anyway? Very well, thank you.
Exactly. I think the fact that they even came up with something called the Heisenberg compensator is hilarious, because what probably happened was some scientist, like a real scientist, pointed out that, a transporter couldn't work because the Heisenberg uncertainty principle states that you can't know,
Well, like a scientist who's a fan.
Yeah, exactly. And they said, oh, well, of course, that's not a problem for...
Yeah, we have a Heisenberg compensator.
They have a Heisenberg compensator, so it's all good. Yeah. Exactly.
Hand wave it.
Now,
John
shut up.
Beck, yes. He's a pantser. He would rather... I tend to rather hate Abrams as a filmmaker. I love the phrasing of that. I tend to rather hate him.
It sounds more sophisticated. Yeah, you know.
I hate him, but just somewhat.
It makes it sound like a bit of a
in general
understated.
Not always.
I rather hate him.
It's nice and gentle. You're so
Yeah,
thoughtful
exactly.
about it, John Henry.
It's yeah, exactly. Yes, and Keith Hale pointing out, yes, transporters are murder closets. That's sometimes they are. Sometimes they are. Another super chat from John Burns. Thank you again. Says Jeffrey's tubes, on the other hand, make perfect sense. Of course they do. You have to have a tube to crawl into. How can you have a ship without tubes?
Sometimes you need like a boxy crawl space.
Yeah. Sometimes
it depends.
It depends on what the plot
what
calls
the
for.
aesthetic
Really.
is.
Yeah, exactly.
And Star Trek, the aesthetic is round.
Tubes. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And in Die Hard, it's the ventilation system, so you need a box.
Exactly. See?
Yeah.
And also it's Die Hard, so it goes with the aesthetic
You
of
want
like
those
square,
Yes.
sharp edges.
It's not die round.
or Die smooth.
Die smooth. No, of course not.
Exactly, some random geek.
You need
But air ducts typically are rectangular.
Yes. Die cast. Good one, Caitlin. Nice.
All right. Well, I don't have anything else relevant.
All right, let's
we can chit chat forever, but then people complain.
Yeah, let's jump. Yeah, 255 AD. It's like a series of tubes. Exactly. Starships and the internet. Exactly. All right. Here we go. We're getting back into the episode. Once again, we're paused at 1853 or 1854. It's whichever one you're at. Remaining. And
we're almost there.
We're almost there. We're gonna count back in. Here we go. From 3, 2, 1, play.
Oh, nice makeup.
He doesn't look good, does he?
Excuse you. I think he looks very nice. Just because he doesn't have a beard that's as fine as yours.
He's half dead. He's all.
Oh, details. He'll get better. We know his name.
I got better.
He has a last name.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Does he? Does he?
What's my last name? See?
Never mind that he just said it.
He said it in the scene
15
before.
minutes
Yeah.
ago.
Shh.
Spoiler.
I'm the guy who dies to prove the situation is serious.
Buckaroo. He looks like any animal in an environment over 20 degrees Celsius. We haven't. He's not broken out in a sweat.
I'd like to shake his hand.
But only if we're both wearing gloves.
Yes.
Oh, dramatic music.
Not our dear O'Brien. Please say it isn't so. It looks like a name that's backwards. Deacon Elig.
So his name's actually Glee.
Sure, why not? Oh, fun.
Yeah, but are they people we like?
I mean, what? There's O'Brien and Jake and Dax, so, there's 3.
Well, 2.
Ooh. Harsh. Nickname Poison Sirmac. This is sad. Quark playing Dabo with himself. 255 AD, I think it does affect Bajorans eventually. I think by the end of the episode, it affects pretty much everybody.
Then why'd you come in here?
He just wanted to see how Quark was doing, that's all.
Some random geek says, I'm now thinking of Socrates' famous last words. Wait, I drank what?
Exactly.
The true future of AI is summarizing. I have one job on this ship. It's a stupid job, but I'm going to do it. Okay?
Okay.
What viral containment?
Was I supposed to be containing this? Oh, shit. Sorry. Uh-oh.
It's interesting.
You got the virus, son. Uh-oh. See, I think we're going to do that at some point, aren't we? Yeah. Oh, did he hang up on me? She's mad.
How wooed.
She mad.
He hung up on me.
I need a runabout to go to Bajor and kill him. After you. Yeah, Caitlin, that's exactly what she's going to do. She's going to isolate in the runabout.
Yeah, but she's Bajoran and he's Bajoran too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
They're used to being rude. That's like their thing. No, I don't. Just because you say so. Screw you, Dad.
You know I can't understand a
You
word you're
don't,
saying, right?
and you don't understand me.
Can I borrow the car, Dad?
You, you don't understand me, Dad. Like literally, you don't understand me.
That's funny. I don't
You
know what
know what
I'm
I'm
looking
totally
at.
curious about?
What?
What does aphasia look like among people who sign?
That's a good question. I guess they interpret the sign as something other than what it is.
Or like the signs they make. You know what I mean?
Well, I think they probably see the actual hand motion, but their brain just interprets it as
No, the
something
other
other
way.
than.
The other way, because here we have the aphasics
Mhm.
saying things, and it
Right.
comes out as gibberish.
Right.
So an aphasic person who signs,
They're doing the signing.
they're signing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're right. They would be doing like nonsense signs. Yeah. I would think, right? But they're saying real words, so they would be signing real words or
In
real
this case,
phrases.
in this case,
In this case, yeah.
I plan to.
How quickly can we kill him? Dude, you're fucking everything up for us. Well, at least we'll still have the other half. Let's just let it play.
Okay.
We're letting it play, folks.
And aphasic here could just write stuff down, but it would still come out with all the words jumbled.
Yeah, exactly. Because O'Brien
We
wrote
saw that
something in the
they established that earlier.
yeah. Bad form. Bad form. Whatever. Puka, the reason why it would go kaboom is because the ship is trying to pull away. So if the docking clamps are stuck and the ship is still trying to pull out, then it would destroy. That's what would cause the damage. Oh, uh-oh. Sure.
Yeah, Caitlin, that's why I was thinking that it would affect signing, despite, grabbing and pointing, that doesn't really count as signing. It's gesturing, but not actually a language.
Yeah, exactly. Language is affected. Yeah. Easy.
She gets angry a lot.
Well, I mean, there is a virus spreading across the station, so. Absinthe Chris, I had practically nothing to do with it. Thanks for the super chat again, John. Says, guy who dies to prove the situation is serious, or like in The Last Action Hero, I'm the comic relief. I'm the comic relief. I can die.
But in Galaxy Quest, it was maybe you're the plucky comic relief.
You're the plucky comic relief.
The comic relief suffers.
Right.
In hilarious and embarrassing ways.
Yeah, because you can't kill the comic relief. That's not funny.
Yeah, exactly.
She's on TV with short hair. She's got to be feisty. Exactly. It's a trope. I wasn't aware of that part of your backstory.
The random geek asks, "Is O'Brien the comic of DS9 then?" I don't know. Is he plucky?
I wouldn't say he's plucky, no. The closest thing DS9 has to a comic relief character among the regulars is Quark, and I wouldn't say he quite qualifies.
Look at him look at that grin.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, did he beat Cisco unconscious? Like nobody else fell asleep when they got the virus. Or Cisco was just like, look, I'm taking a nap. Y'all can handle this. It does affect Bajorans. Man.
I wanted to do things.
You can see him. He's sick. He has to lie down. Exactly.
He needs some ginger ale.
Yep.
That's the problem.
See, there you go.
Well, he's fairly conveniently placed.
I know. I'm working on it. Oh, no, he's got it too.
Well, she's already sweating.
I know.
I thought I was moving faster.
Quark is voguing in panic.
Ooh, a noisy space explosion. Don't you just love it? You are the one down here.
Right?
I will make you earn your hazard pay, and then I will gladly pay you.
And yada, yada, yada.
The cargo guy does not appear to be dead for Shives. He was.
Yeah, he's okay. They put O'Brien right back to work. You're cured. Now get back up there. Wah, wah, wah. I quit.
Oh,
Oh, fun.
how lovely.
Isn't it hilarious? So, Caitlin, I think, yeah, his ship did blow up. I don't, and there was probably a line of dialogue about how they got the people off of it or something. I'm not
No,
sure,
he'd
but
already talked about that. He was doing it himself because all of his crew were in the infirmary.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, I must have missed
I
that.
was
Yeah.
paying attention.
Look
Look at
at
me.
you.
I'm a good student.
You you're a good Star Trek watcher. Yeah. So there you go. There's episode 4 of Deep Space Nine, the aphasia episode.
Correct. Get up, Patty. Shit ain't fixing itself.
I'm Irish, no hate.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. 255 AD says, good thing brain damage is temporary.
How convenient.
Well, in the future, maybe it is.
So, Quark is a pretty cool character.
Come to Quarks. Quarks is fun.
No, they got him. They got him off the ship.
Yeah.
Although that's what I said. He was very conveniently placed. They didn't actually have to go like into the ship. I guess
Yeah,
he figured out the ship was going to blow up.
He was dragging himself out, I guess.
Charles Chapman asks if I've got a favorite character for DS9 yet.
Yeah. Have you?
Probably Kira. I like Kira or Quark because I like the mouthy ones.
Kira is a really good character, and she comes across fairly strongly in this early portion of the show because she has such a strong personality. You know, she's the feisty one.
Yep, it's the short hair.
Yes,
And of
yeah,
course,
exactly.
Quark has no hair whatsoever, so he's really feisty. 255 AD says if the guy needed the money, how much can we blame him for being desperate to make that delivery? Did he need the money though? Or are we seeing again that he's like, is he like a super rich guy who just wants more money? Is he greedy? We don't know.
And also, is this maybe a situation where because it was an outbreak on a Federation run station, would the Federation maybe reimburse him for whatever money he may have lost? Mm-hmm. If he lost money because he couldn't deliver that cargo, seems only fair.
It seems reasonable, but
it seems reasonable, yeah. John Burns says, what takes me out of sci-fi? I've got to run down this long hallway for a very important thing. If it's so important, why is it hard to get to? Drama.
Well, but not only that, I mean, sometimes you can come up with an in-story reason. Maybe it's something that they don't want very many people to get to because it's important. They don't want people messing with it. So you put it out of the way, and then you put a big door in front of it, and you make sure the door is locked, and you have to have all sort of security cameras to get past the door. Like the chompers.
Yeah, we shouldn't have to do this. This doesn't make any sense. They shouldn't even be here.
Whoever wrote this episode should die.
This episode was badly written.
Used to do it.
Just David Corathan said, just sue the guy who made the virus, right?
Isn't he dead?
Well, yeah, that's true. That guy is dead. We had the guy who had practically nothing to do with it.
Details. Yes, David Corden. Screw that.
Yes, exactly.
My favorite cinematic moment ever. Ever. I love it so much.
255 AD, that's a good point. And I have to remind myself about that a lot because I sort of default to that mindset, which is just stay the hell home. But we're not giving people right. Like, we're not giving people the support that would allow them to stay home. So, that has to be factored in.
So, yeah.
John Burns says, I'd prefer they're all, oh no, I have to run down the long corridor to go press the, oh, I don't, here it is. Yeah, but that's not. I mean, that would be great for a comedy show. That'd be a hilarious joke if you
Yeah.
wanted to do that. But for a show where you want to have like some tension, and some drama, then like, you know, you need to have Odo have to run down a burning hallway every once in a while. That's all.
I like Loretta's line, stay home and eat your bootstraps. But if you eat them, how will you pull yourself up by them?
Exactly. It's paradoxical.
Uh,
Vitakus has an interesting proposed solution for a reason for that, which is because the Cardassians didn't want their Bajoran slaves to have an easy walk between tasks. Yes, exactly. The station was built by Cardassians. Maybe they were like, yeah, let them walk.
I don't know, John Burns. I mean, obviously, she delivers it well, and that helps. But it's hard to say because I don't. I mean, and I love Sigourney Weaver. I mean, she's one that if I met her, I would just, ha ha, hi, hi. So, well, but I mean, that's there are always going to be, there's always going to be collateral damage with revolution.
Yeah. Well, this is
That's
255
accepted.
255 AD saying, I
Yeah.
normally stand the Bajoran resistance, but how do you feel about them creating a virus that indiscriminately infects people? Well, I mean, part of the deal with the Bajoran resistance is, even though I think we're meant to view them as the good guys, obviously, because
Yes.
they were fighting the Cardassians, who were space Nazis, the Bajoran resistance still did questionable things.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it goes along with it. It fits in with the Bajoran. They were in a desperate situation, and they were fighting a much more powerful enemy than they were, and sometimes they did some morally questionable things. And I think the virus would be an example of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, while it's understandable,
Yeah,
it's part of war.
yeah,
And that's one of my things that I have been thinking about for a year or so now. There is what's the poet's name with the plums and the red wheelbarrow? William Carlos Williams. He has an excellent essay, and I think it's called "The Problem of Violence."
mm-hmm.
And he's talking. I think with him, he's talking about a kid, a toothache, and the tooth needs to be removed.
Oh yes, I
but
you. Yeah,
it's
I read this
it's
part. You
really
showed me this part.
beautiful
Yeah,
and really sad. In Stephen King's book on writing, he talks about having recurring ear infections
Mhm.
and going to the audiologist. And they puncture his eardrum to get the nasty stuff out. So and like as an adult, he realizes that it was something because they said if this continues, your eardrum could rupture on its own, be destroyed, and you would go deaf. And I think also just given that everything's connected, there's the possibility that he would go deaf in both ears as well. Whereas they know that this procedure is painful, not just unpleasant, but painful, but that it will, he to my knowledge, he can hear fine. But he's a kid and it hurts.
Yeah.
And just it's beautiful. I mean, it's Stephen King. It's wonderfully well written as part of his memoir. And 255 AD asks, would it have infected the slaves on the station as well? We don't know. So it's just Harry asks, did I like the episode? Yes, I did.
From what you can remember, do you have a favorite episode of DS9 so far? Like, has one stood out more than the others?
Was the pilot the one where uh, I don't know. I tend to like the inclusion of like beyond science,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. Was the pilot the one where they were dealing with the prophets and
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah.
I liked that. I felt like the bit with the death of the wife was overwritten and over directed.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah,
When we watched
it
that.
just feels, yeah, it felt inauthentic to me, but I liked that other part of it. So Voltaire de Terre asks about the William Carlos Williams. I think it's either the problem of violence or the question of violence, but it's something like that. But just, William Carlos Williams essay, violence dentist, do some searching with some of those words.
Yeah, you can find it.
And if I can remember, I will find it like as a PDF, and I'm sure I can find it, and I'll put it in a link. I'll write myself a note.
Speaking of reminding you to do things.
Oh yeah. So because of the pandemic and stuff, I started and also, just talking with Steve about his videos. It's like, I mean, you make it look easy. Not that it's easy, I don't want to diminish, what you do, but, and especially I've had your help with this, so I haven't had to figure it out on my own. But I've started just the channel, and it's like this big. I have like 30 followers. Yay! Wait, no, here it's called subscribers. See, this is how new I am.
Yeah. Use the right terminology, Dana.
Sorry, gatekeeper. 255 AD asks, how do I feel about kidnapping that guy? Dude totally deserved it. What an asshole. Yes.
Yeah, to hell with him.
Grab him. And also, I mean, you need him you literally need him in order to save people's lives. Like, eventually, everybody on that station would have been dead, and they would have been unable to communicate with anybody else. No. Yeah. Totally justified. PDF comment. So anyway, if you're enjoying what we're doing here and you want to check out my channel, feel free.
And Some Random Geek just posted it in the
thank you. Some Random
in the
Geek
chat.
is just like the bomb at links in the chat. Speaking of which, Some Random Geek, would you like to put a link in the chat as well? I'm sure it's already in the
charity links.
Yes,
he's already got it in there.
Direct. See, look at that.
Charitylinks.page. So please subscribe to Dana's YouTube channel and check out her videos because they're awesome. And yes,
so, yeah, I talk about like stories, and also there are book recommendations on there. I love reading good. I love good stories, period. But I generally tend to enjoy reading more than television or movies. Sorry, Steve.
How dare you?
I'm really impatient. I'm really impatient, and visual media, you're restricted to the flow of the story. Although you can do more a little bit now, you can like speed it up so it doesn't take as long. But like, if I just get bored, I can just sort of start skimming and just going through it. And then if I don't like it, then I skip to the end and read the ending. And if the ending's good, maybe I'll read the rest. But I feel like with a textual medium, you have a lot more control over your experience in the story. You get to imagine what the characters look like and how the action plays out and things like that. So I will be adding more book talks on there. I have some grammar stuff, and I, as an English teacher, so it's designed to be a way to work with my students when I'm not there, but also just some teachery type stuff. So, yay, beautiful one! Thank you. I hope you guys enjoy it. And just like send me a message or comment or something. I am such a sucker for feedback, pro or con, whatever. Please make sense so that I can like say something back to you. If like the people who comment say first commenter, I'm like, that's nice. But yeah, that's actually how I met my best friend, was like we were commenting back and forth on each other's stories. So something to do. 45. Wow, guys.
Wow. And Joe has watched 2 videos so far and
Oh,
liked
you
it.
liked it. Yay, I'm so glad. So I actually have an idea for I'm going to post my first confession, or not post. I'm gonna film. I'm gonna try to remember to film my first confession video. It's my big confession as an English teacher.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
I know what
yes,
this
I'm
is. Yeah.
so excited about this. Whenever I tell somebody this, like, really, I'm just like, so this is great. So I've really enjoyed it, and of course, Steve's been the one editing my videos. I need to get to the point. I've got iMovie. I need to get to the point where I can watch them.
We'll get to the point where you can watch your videos first. Then you can move on to editing.
You guys, it's so hard. I'm just like, oh, I don't look at that.
It is.
I don't know how you do that.
It's difficult.
Theater's great because, like, once it's done, you just walk away. That's it.
It is difficult to edit video without watching it. It is very difficult.
I've read. Oh, he's guessing that's the
Oh, that's the secret.
confession.
That's the confession. Yeah.
Will it make us say that's impossible? No, because when I say it, you'll believe me. Ritualization, with all the ventilation on the station, maybe masks would have been pointless. Like those restaurants where everybody got sick no matter how far away. Yeah, masks aren't one of the things that we're learning, maybe relearning with the pandemic, is that a lot of it is about risk reduction. You know, masks don't mean that you won't get sick.
Right. Yeah. They're not a perfect,
6 feet, 10 feet, whatever distance away from people doesn't mean that you won't get sick. You know, it's hard. So yeah, some random geek. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get to that point, but it's really hard. I really enjoy looking at my theater promo pics, but like even looking at practice videos and stuff, you know, to when we did styles, we were doing stuff for accents, and like I don't know why it's hard. So I guess it's something I'm gonna have to work on, because it's.
I mean, I know a lot of people have issues like that. I mean, I think it's it's about building a tolerance to it. It's about
getting used to it.
Getting accustomed to it. Exactly.
Getting used to having your face flipped, like when you see pictures and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think we talked about that before when you first started making videos a little bit
Yeah.
ago. Like, you get used to it. Like you're used to seeing your face in the mirror, and then you see it on video and it's not mirrored, and you're like, that doesn't look right. And you're like, wait, holy shit, is that how I look to other people? But you get used to it. Like,
there's a similar practice when you like hear your voice played back from a recording. It sounds different because you're hearing it like through air instead of through bone, which is how you mostly hear yourself. So it's just really interesting. Just think about, maybe everybody was actually infected before they realized it was airborne, and then they had absolute confirmation that was true with triporters running tests and stuff. Maybe. Yeah. Masks and Voltaire's point, masks and social distancing helped slow down the spread so that the hospitals are less likely to get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, anything else?
I don't think so.
And Jeff Borowiak just told one of my favorite jokes in the live chat. One of my favorite jokes, which is a neutron walks into a bar and asks how much for a drink, and the bartender says, "For you, no charge." It's one of the few science jokes that I know enough to get. Like, I get it, because neutrons. Yeah, Loretta, no, we're not going to see. We're watching the episodes in order, so we will not get to the Bell Riots episode for quite a while, and that is assuming Dana wants to keep watching after we get to the end of season 1. She may decide to tap out and be like,
if anybody else wants to bother continuing to watch, if y'all go away, then we don't have anybody to talk to. It won't be nearly as much fun. I mean, honestly, if that happened, we'd probably just watch it just whenever and not bother recording. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, because this is what I think. This is what makes it fun. Yeah, the show's great, but like, I mean, there's doing a live stream with nobody showing up.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of defeats the purpose.
Watching it together and interacting with people. That's exactly.
And then some random geek said that he's able to listen to Social Justice Alchemy, the podcast that he's on. I have trouble listening to, I mean, even the episodes that I've really enjoyed recording for Let Me Listen for the Ensign's log. I have trouble listening to like once my character shows up, I'm just like, oh, can we just not? It's I don't know. It's really weird.
Yeah. Beautifulest one asked what I think about Titans. Plug your ears, Dana. No,
I already know.
You already know.
Titans?
I have only watched the first season. I thought the first several episodes were just dire, were just really bad. It gets a little better as it goes on.
Because they set the bar.
They set the bar so low.
Low.
The Doom Patrol episode is pretty good. And it improves gradually, sort of from that point on. I didn't think it was all that good, but I am going to watch season 2 just out of a grim determination to see it through to the end.
Dude, you are sick. You have problems.
But I don't think
you need to talk to somebody.
I didn't think it worked all that well. But there were parts of it that could have been good if there were some adjustments to the tone and but yeah, overall I didn't think it was that great. Although the casting is good, and especially the guy they got to play Dick, I think in a better production he could be a terrific Dick Grayson in Nightwing, for sure. Well, I mean,
when there's so much good stuff that you could be watching, and you spend your time on that, and also at some point we need to talk about your bigotry towards animation. What the heck?
I'm sorry. Oh, you mean because I don't? You mean because I don't give a shit about the animated Star Wars stuff?
No, not just that. I mean, like Avatar. Oh, just like it's animated.
It's not just that it's animated. It's like fantasy. Like it's just like
because they do things that we're not able to do. Like they do all the freaking time in Star Trek. All the time.
My lack of interest in Avatar is not just because it's not because it's animated. It's because I've had other people talk to me about it, and I've read like reviews of it and stuff, and it just doesn't seem interesting to me. It just seems like I'm just like Yeah, exactly. I have bigotry for fantasy. Exactly. I feel like bigotry is
what that is.
I feel like bigotry is a bit strong, but I have an aversion. I have a lack of interest.
An unreasonable aversion. Like seriously, it's not. You're like it just seems boring.
It bores me. I just find it boring.
Why? Nothing happens without a reason. We don't always understand the reason, but there is a reason for it. Ooh. And you're pretending that it's not there. That is
you know that it's because of that wizard who killed my parents with a magic spell when I was a baby.
Well, then you need to get over it, too. Move on.
Shit. Oh, shit.
Yes, Avatar is amazing. I haven't. I'm interested in Legend of Korra, but I haven't. I'm hoping that in the next few days I can actually start that because I'm starting to feel that I'm in a good. I've finished all of the on-time grading. I have a bunch of late work to do, but I'm not starting that until we have our in-service days. So I'm sort of mentally recovered from last semester at this point. So, beautifulest one not at this point. What my book series right now is about books I love. Toni Morrison. Most of the books I love are pretty happy books. And Toni Morrison stuff is pretty hefty. So like they're actually just like right here. So the next one that I think I'm doing is gonna be that I haven't already shot. I shot Matilda the other day, and that's gonna be up, I think, next Saturday. The next one I'm really excited. This is For the Bride. And this is a book that like if somebody if somebody broke into our house and like took stuff, this is one of the very few things that I would just be devastated about because it's literally irreplaceable. This was published in 1922, I think. Yeah, the original is 1922. This is the second edition from 1923. And I'm pretty sure, though I'm not certain, given that it was published in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where my dad grew up, is that this was this belonged to his mom, my grandmother. And I never met her because she died young. So this is one of two things that I have that connects me to her. So it's very special to me. And I'll read parts because it's in the public domain. I will read parts, and like the advice that it gives to brides is hilarious. It is so amazing. So it's a product of its times. But Edward Eger's Half Magic, Epic by Connor Kostick, so great. Grooming Gossip and the Evolution of Language, one of my favorite books of all time. Thinking Fast and Slow, Deadly Doses, A Writer's Guide to Poisons. Oh, so good. And it ties in with one that I've already done, which is no, I don't know if I've done the Princess Bride yet or not. Princess Bride is right down below it, and I actually have an order that I want to talk about them in, and just so they're books that I've loved and why I've loved them, and that sort of thing. So it's not necessarily about great literature. It's about stories and why I connect with them. And that's one of the things that I really try to talk with my students about, that, I have students who say they don't like reading. And I'm just like, that's like saying you don't like music. Like there's like so much out there, and, and maybe, and that you haven't found music that speaks to you, and that's okay. Utopia for Realists, I liked. Was that Bregman? I liked Utopia for Realists. I liked the other guy, the one BS Jobs. I liked that one better. But I liked Utopia for Realists. I'd really hoped that he'd get more. He talks a lot about some of the problems. I had hoped that he would have more practical type stuff, and he didn't. And that was why I think I gave it 3 stars, and just not as well constructed as I would have hoped. It's on Goodreads. I have it as one of my recent reads on Goodreads. Yeah, David Graeber. Oh, yeah. I was so sad to lose him. I was like, oh, look, he's a teacher and he teaches classes. He's an anarchist. I'm like, I would love to take a class from him. And he died. Yeah. Well, see, I'm trying to avoid saying that, some random geek, because it's in BS Jobs, and we know what that stands for. I don't remember. I think I did, but I don't remember. I think I've watched a couple people arguing with Tucker Carlson. I may have to go and look at that again. I'm gonna pen. Graeber.
Write down another note.
Versus Carlson. It's like to-do list for tomorrow.
I got you.
So.
I got you.
I know. It really surprised me. Like, some of my other icons are, a little older, like Tom Lear. I mean, he is up there, but he's still around. I'm just like, I'm not. I know that we're going to get the news, and it's not going to be too much longer, and I won't feel bad because, like, we have his body of work. I don't think he's going to be producing more. 255 AD, we're talking about kind of 2 people. BS Jobs was Graeber. Bregman was Utopia for Realists. I liked BS Jobs. I'm looking to read some more of Graeber's works. Bregman, I think, has another book that I'm trying to find as well. Are there books written for grooms so they know how to be the perfect husbands? No, but
they would be if they were from this. If they were from the same time period as that Bride book of yours, that would be very interesting.
It would be really interesting. There's another one that I probably won't include, but it's called Paths to Perdition, and
I remember that.
So good. I told you about this one.
Yes, I remember that one.
Oh, John Burns. Yes, I love Tom Lear. Tom Lear is how I know when Incredibles 2 is set. It's in 1965. because Incredibles 2 is where Mr. Incredible talks to his son about math. And it's funny at the time because this is shortly after the Common Core came out. And he's like, how did they change this? And the son's like, this isn't how my teacher told me to do it. And he's like, what do you mean this isn't how your teacher told you how to do it? This math is math.
Math is math.
Math is math. But Tom Lear has a song in 1965 about the new math. And it's hilarious to listen to it because he gives a subtraction problem. And he's just like, you can't take 3 from 2. 2 is less than 3. So you look at 4 in the tens place. Now that's really 4 tens. So you make 3 tens, regroup, and you change the 10 to 10 ones and add it to 3. And I'm just like, yeah, this makes perfect sense. What are you talking about? Because what was for them, the new math is like, that's how I grew up.
That's how we learned it. Yeah.
And now they're doing this thing where they do like this like crosshatch pattern and stuff. And it's so great. Oh my goodness. It's just awesome. Oh, thank you, Some Random Geek. Yes, there are many different versions of him. If you can also, he was a good looking kind of guy. If you can get the one of him actually performing it. Oh, but yet just like all of his stuff. I haven't heard a song of his that I have disliked. Also, Steve, we've talked about your love for the space program.
Yeah.
He's got one about Werner von Braun.
Werner von Braun, yeah, which is hilarious.
Who cares when they come down? That's not my department, says Werner von Braun.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. Well, I was watching a documentary recently about the Apollo program, and the last episode of it starts with Tom Lear singing that song, and I texted you excitedly to be like, Tom Lear's in this documentary I'm watching.
Yeah, it's like you getting excited about them referencing Sherlock Jr.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Poisoning pigeons in the park. God, it's so good. Loretta Reyes asks do you have aphasia? And I'm guessing that was directed at me because I think I was the one talking. No, just sometimes when I get excited about things, I don't make sense. That's probably what happened.
Exactly. 255 AD says, please tell me which Christmas movie is worse. What are my what are my options? Like of all
John Burns
Christmas
asked,
movies?
no, I did not see the $5 super chat. Again, I was really excited. And did I see Abbott and Costello Mathematics? Yes, that is brilliant. Oh God. Screw Disney. I hope they are too worried about the pandemic to stop that. But yes, Tom Lear stuff. Super chat. Check out Kelsey Ray Bartle. Good Arthur. Okay. Kelsey B-A-R-T-E-L. R-T-E-L. I will warn you, I have an extensive, and this is one of the things that makes me think that living forever maybe wouldn't be a good idea because like my to-read list, my want-to-read list keeps getting longer the more I'm alive because they publish more books, more good books that I'm interested in than I can actually read. Plus, let's not forget that there's all these other books. Like recently, I went to the used bookstore and I picked up this, Agatha Christie, The Golden Ball, which is not mysteries. It is totally pulp and it's awesome. Agatha Christie, I mean, her mysteries are fun, but they're so pulpy and they're just, this is just the pulpy parts and it's great. I love it so much. And so there's too much to read and I keep getting further and further behind of stuff, not just stuff that I feel like I ought to read, but stuff that I actually want to read. Because of all that. Okay, so Loretta, that's actually a quote from the song. So it's not like I'm not making anything up.
You're not just making stuff up.
Anything. I'm just that's just lines from the song. It's called New Math and it's so good. It won't do you a bit of good to review math. It's so simple, so very simple that only a child can do it. Come back next week. We're going to talk about fractions.
255 AD. I think Home for Christmas is more depressing. And beautifulest one. We may review 3 Days of the Condor at some point. I don't know. Jason picks the movies. Actually, well, Jason picks the 3 options and then forces me to pick the movie. So I 3 Days of the Condor might be in the docket eventually, but I can't tell you like how soon it might be or if. But I think it would certainly fit our criteria. So there you go.
Yeah, Philip, I'm with you. And I'm so picky now about buying books. Gosh, it's been almost 10 years. Next year will be 10 years since I went to an ALA convention and like
and load it up.
So many books. I went 2009, I went in 2011. And some of the books I had so many books, but like a lot of them, like I tried to focus on picking up middle grade and YAs to fill up my classroom library. And I can't read them all. It's just not possible. So
yeah. 255 AD. Yes, I agree. They're similar. Yes, you're definitely onto something there.
I did not see the comment about the divorce rate in the U.S. in 46 was the highest in the century. I'm not surprised. The divorce rate actually, I think it came down after that, but it spiked again in the 80s when no-fault divorce became, the standard. But it's been declining, not, linearly, but it's declined ever since then. We're able to deal with these shattered minds without PhDs. Yeah. This book gets into some of that, and I am so looking forward to talking about it and reading from it. Oh, it's delightful, and it's in the public domain, so I'm so looking forward to sharing it. It's classic. It's classic.
So shall we call the proceedings to a close? We've been going for over 2 hours.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I know it's hard to believe, right? It's time flies when you're having fun. But yeah, so just one more plug for Dana's YouTube channel. If you haven't checked out her stuff,
I would really love to get to 100 subscribers so that I could say it's like youtube.com/ I don't know, Dana
whatever
or something. Somebody else has that, but
it's
like a bunch of letters that I don't actually know.
Yeah, exactly.
You're stuck to 100 before I can like give it something that makes sense.
You're stuck with the
yes, and don't forget the charity links.
Yes. charitylinks.page, and they're linked in the description. And also, Dana and I will be back on Friday for the next chapter of The Dispossessed. Yeah, for our next episode of Read Away. And then I will be back on Monday for the next episode of the Conversation Stream. And my first guest of the new year will be Caitlin Burns, who is an awesome journalist. And go ahead.
Caitlin, yes, Being Emily is actually on my to find list, but I'm going to add that here. Rachel Gold. Yes. Ta-da.
Woohoo.
So, yeah,
so there you go.
It's awesome.
And then we'll be back here a week from tonight to do the next episode of Firefly, because next week is Firefly week. So there you go.
Well, I haven't even looked to see what episode that is, so.
Neither have I. And
no. I looked. It's one that I'm looking forward to.
Oh, it's the one you wanted to see. It's the one.
Yes,
it's
but
the one
I kept thinking, I'm like, this is the next one. No, it's not.
Yeah. And Some Random Geek, don't feel bad because I still need to read chapter 5 too, buddy. So we're in the same boat. But I will have it read before the show on Friday because it would be a little weird to talk about it if I hadn't read the chapter. So, all right. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks, Dana, for watching with me. Absolutely. Oh, I'm glad.
Thanks for having me.
I'm glad. All right. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you on Friday.